Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mental Shift. And today I have this awesome guest with me. But let me tell you who I am. If you don't know who I am and you're watching Mental Shift or listening to Mental Shift, my name is Mras. I'm an international speaker, coach, and trainer, two-time author, soon to be a third-time author. And I have a podcast called Mental Shift. Please share it, like it, whatever you want to do. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Michelle Mras, MICHELLEMRAS. Today, I have a phenomenal woman. I met her at a boot camp out in LA. Her name is Sandra Estok. She has a website and a book by the same name. Write it down, Happily Ever Cyber. I think it's phenomenal. She has great information on how to keep yourself safe in the world of cyberness. And so I wanted her on the Mental Shift podcast so that she can share her wisdom with all of us. Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you, Michelle. It's a pleasure to be here, sharing with you and obviously your audience. So I'm very excited. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you because in our digital world, so many of us don't even realize how, vulnerable we are to cyber attack. I would love for you. Can you share a little bit of your story about what happened to you? Because you were not always in the cyber world. You were basically kind of forced into it, right? Can you share what brought you into this?
Absolutely. I will start with my story of I was returning from visiting my mom in Colombia. And I'm in the plane and we're landing. And the captain says, "Welcome to Miami, please cooperate because we have Homeland Security officers boarding now." I hand my passport, Michelle, to the officer, and next thing I know, I'm the only one being marched off the plane and thrown into the room. Yeah, that famous room where, there were no phone calls, of course. I didn't know what was happening. My husband was waiting for me in Chicago, and I was about to miss my connecting flight and no information. So 10 hours later, they handed back my passport, and my passport said revoked. And I didn't know why, and I didn't know what was going on. At the time, the company I was working for relocated me from South America. So few weeks later, I'm back. I'm in Venezuela, my native country, processing a new visa, and with a lot of the attorneys and people from the company helping me to go through this process. During the interview in the embassy, they kept asking me, "Why were you in China? Who do you know in China? Why? Who's your connection in China?" And I'm like, I don't know what they are talking about. Michelle, I've never been in China. I never, I'm like, what is this? Somehow a Chinese smuggler got a hold of my information and had been smuggling women into the US using my identity. So I convinced them I'm not a Chinese smuggler, and I got my new visa. I, get my passport, and everything is okay. 2 weeks later, I'm in a flight returning from Europe. Because of my job, I have to travel a lot. And, I get off the plane and I get to passport control and I have my passport and I'm marched right back into the room again. Because I have to prove that I was the real me.
You're not the smuggler.
Yes. So over and over, every time I traveled during 6 years, this happened. When I Googled my name, everything was in Chinese. And, can you believe, Michelle, nobody wanted to travel with me. Not even my own husband. Yes. And, he used to say, "Honey, we're going on vacation. Why don't you go the day before and I'll meet you there?" So finally, things really, really are okay. I have my U.S. citizenship, my passport under my new name. And the reason that I'm sharing this story and that I want to thank you for this opportunity, Michelle, is because identity theft can happen to anyone. regardless of where you are from or what do you do, what profession you have. You know, you don't have to be famous, you don't have to be um, millionaire. I mean, anyone could be a target, and it doesn't only happen through through a passport, through a document. It could happen with your social media account, with your email, with your phone. When you write your personal information in a paper, and give it to someone, or as simple as giving that your credit card to somebody in a store. I mean, it could happen in a blink of an eye. And I think my goal with what I'm doing is to change the perception of cyber and do a spin off of, yes, we have to be very concerned. There are very bad things that happen in the cyber world. And but I want to change the perception of fear that, I have to be always afraid, because when you are afraid, sometimes you don't take action. Sometimes fear paralyzes you. So I want to do something different with my books and with the content that I'm creating. It's not about scaring you, it's about inspiring it. And it's about sharing my stories, and it's about taking you into a journey where you will learn how to protect yourself against hackers, scammers, and cyber monsters. So that's what I'm very passionate about, and I'm super excited.
Thank you for being here and sharing that, because you have I know you do something where you have something that makes passwords for you or something, or protects them. What is
Yes.
that? I remember you telling
Yes.
me about that.
Yes, of course. Passwords are one of the biggest challenges that we have. We use our password for many things during the day. We have a password for everything. You may have a passcode for your, for the door. You have a password for even your refrigerator. Nowadays you have a password for everything. And what happens is a lot of people tend to either reuse a password or put the same password into many things. And this is a very critical thing in cybersecurity. So for me, I found a different way for passwords, because I'm a believer of the power of intentions and declarations. So I figure a long time ago, how can I use this to my benefit? So why don't we just create a phrase with whatever you want? Either if you want to go on vacation, or you want to tell yourself something nice about your health, about your love. I mean, whatever it is, but something that has a meaning to you, and mix numbers, mix special characters. And every time you type that password, you're telling yourself that phrase. So in the essence, that password is working for you to get that declaration or affirmation or intention to become a reality. And that's how I use it every day. And you type that password 20 times, and you're telling yourself something nice 20 times, and it works.
That's cool. So you're basically giving yourself an affirmation.
Yes.
You're
in a form
protected.
Yes, of course. And you can vary that. And numbers and special characters, you can replace letters with that, so it can become a complex and more robust password. Now, I do use a password manager, because doing this in everything that I have to enter a password, it will be super, more challenging to remember. So I do this because I have a password manager. I make sure that password manager has a very long password. And then the rest of the passwords are generated with the tool. And there are many tools in the market that I will be writing something about and doing a video more specific about some of the tools that I use or I test. So and giving you more details on my YouTube channel that will be launching pretty soon. But the fact is, you really need to remember one big long password and make sure that every password that you use for all your applications is different. And these tools allow you to do that. They generate the password for you. They tell you when it's about to expire. They tell you, hey, you used this one already, you can't use it anymore. So it's a very good way to manage something as complex and crazy as our passwords. So
I'm giggling because I'm thinking an affirmation, because I'm one of the people who would forget what the affirmation was, and I would lose the main
yes.
number, the main password that would get all my other things.
I think, that's a good point, but I will say,
You
when
can give
you
yourself a hint though, right?
yeah, there are multiple, you could do that. I mean, the idea is that, it's something that you really, really want, or that really has a meaning to you. And it's not the name of your pet or the name, because those are, it's not information that is in social media, because a lot of the password, unfortunately, that we use are either too simple, 1 2 3 4 5, which is the top password that is being used. And when someone hacks, a company, or there is a data breach, they will, you'll be amazed how many people are using that password still nowadays.
Well, and I'm thinking of, all the Facebook
Mm-hmm.
tests. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite pet's name? All that kind of stuff. The color of
Yeah.
your favorite place to eat dinner. I mean, it asks all these little security questions is really what
Yes, it
they
does.
are. You answer
Mm-hmm.
those questions and you're giving the cyber stalker people ammunition to go dig through your files, basically.
Absolutely, and to impersonate you. I mean, if I know the name of your mom or your dad or your pet, and usually those are security questions when you set up your profiles in a bank or in your phone, and your services, and they will ask you that when you disclose that information. Absolutely, Michelle, that's what
What's your first
happens.
grade teacher's name? And you put it in
Yes,
a quiz. Someone else got that already. Yeah, that's scary.
yes,
Well,
it is, and that.
but cybersecurity, like you said, your book is called Happily Ever Cyber, not to be afraid, but to be aware and be educated. And
Yes.
that's why it was so important for me to have you on the show, because so many of us, when we think passwords, we roll our eyes. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
why can't I just do, ABC 1 2 3?
Yeah.
And then the next time they tell me to change it again, do ABC 1 2 3 4.
yes.
And
Yeah.
we can't do that. I mean, I know personally, my Facebook page has been duplicated so many times.
Mm-hmm.
But what's funny about that is, if they write someone on Messenger, I'm very particular. I mean, I don't write just anyone. So if you get a message from me, if it's not about business, it's not me. I mean, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So people do, Michelle,
Yeah.
something's wrong. You wouldn't misspell a word, that kind of thing. You wouldn't spell, and you
yeah.
wouldn't be asking me about something. You wouldn't be
Yeah.
selling me an island in the Pacific. So people know who I am and don't respond on those things. And it's important to
Mm-hmm.
know who you talk to. So I'm
Absolutely.
going to say a broad thing here. When you're on social media and you're getting messages on the back end from someone that never has written you before, delete it.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah,
delete it.
absolutely. If you don't know the person that is asking you for something, you be skeptical. I mean, we always have this instinct in the real world. Like if it's 10 o'clock at night and you are in a dark alley, and your body will sense danger. Your body will activate
High alert.
your high alert, and you'll be looking around just to be sure, if it's a suspicious, place. Your senses will help you. We don't have that online. when we go online or when we get an email from this person asking us to do something or to click here, or you get a text message, be very, careful. And that's the kind of skill that I want to, my audience to start developing, is that, being the same that we are in the real world, we're we protect ourselves. Just develop that skill set, and it becomes, something that we'll do together. And that's it's a journey that I'm about to do with the books. The books is actually a series of books, because one book is not going to give you all the information. And what I want to do is start breaking every topic. And um, cybersecurity, what matters to you to protect might be different to what matters to the other person. So if even if you're a company, if you're a financial company versus a healthcare or a manufacturing company, you have different levels where you care for information. If you are a mom at home, if you are a dad working in a bakery, you care about different things. And that's what the book is about. It's about helping you to protect whatever matters to you. So the breakdown is um, protecting your computers is one book. Protecting when you're traveling is another book. Protecting your identities is a separate book, because each topic might not, might relate more to you at a specific moment in time. And that's what I want. I wanted to make it easy. I want to have uh, a way to demystify a little bit what is, the cybersecurity space, using simple words, using um, stories we all can relate. And the most amazing things, Michelle, that I want to share with you is when I'm speaking and when I leave the stage. Uh, what I love the most is people come to me and they said, "I love your story. Oh my God, that was amazing." But the next thing is they want to tell me their story. And this is what happened to my mom. This is what happened to my kid or my grandma. Or, I mean, that's the kind of spark that I want to create with the book and with the content, and with this movement and this quest that I'm about to embark upon. And so I thank you again for giving me the opportunity to share this with your audience, because it's very, very important. The cyber world is not going to change. It's the way we live, and we just need to embrace it and figure out the basis so we can protect what matters most to us.
And that's how I met you. You came off the stage and I said, I have a story too. My credit card was stolen twice. Yeah.
Yes,
But it
I
makes you
remember that.
think, when it happens, we always think it's only me. I did
Mm-hmm.
something wrong and it's only me. And I messed up. And it's like, no, it happens a lot. And now that
Yes.
you're aware of this, you can fix it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And like in your case with your credit card, sometimes the people that impersonate and the people that the cyber criminals, I call it cyber monsters, because it's a specific way that I'm calling, and I'm giving each one a code name, so it's a fun way to explain why they are who they are and what they want from you. But in your case with your credit card, I remember you gave it to someone that you thought worked in the store. I mean, that happens a lot, and they did it in a manual way instead of using the machine. And
Yeah, they used
you know,
impression maker is what they used.
exactly.
And within
Yeah.
15
So,
minutes, my number was sold on the internet and
mhm.
was sold overseas. And my audience doesn't know it, but they rang up a good 90 something $1,000 out of my account. I didn't have $90,000. That was all going negative. My account was red. It was the most terrifying thing. But it was a reputable store. Their system was down. They did an impression on my card and it was gone in 15 minutes. Amazing.
It happens that fast, and you were one of the lucky. I mean, that you were able to recover really fast. I mean, in some cases, um, it could take years, and in
Yeah.
some cases,
What saved me
um,
is my credit union knew my buying habits and knew I was not, they saw me, like, say, shopping in Colorado Springs. I had just used it. And then it was in Italy. And they called me and said, ma'am, are you in Italy? And that's how I found out. Ma'am, are you in Italy? You just bought an $8,000 something, something. I do. That's not me. And so they locked it right there. And so they
mhm,
couldn't stop it because it was selling on the internet, but they
mhm.
knew it wasn't me at that point. So they just kind of waited for it. Then I had to
Yep,
do a police report. And it was very fast. But some people, it's gone. Their identity's gone. All their money's gone, you know. So another
yep,
thing that could help with cybersecurity is also knowing your financial institution's methods, you know,
yep, absolutely,
because mine's
absolutely. And hmm yeah, and I have an alert for any transaction that I do in my credit card. It will send me a text and it will tell me, did you? And I'm in a gas station, whatever I am, and I have to use my credit card. I just wait to see, that notification, and then just it's a validation that I do, and definitely we
same
have
thing.
to be very alert.
It'll tell me anytime someone else uses
Yep,
my email, my phone number,
yep,
any of my cards. So I've got this alert for everything that is
yep,
associated with me, and it's just
absolutely,
because you don't know what people are going to use. I mean,
absolutely.
I have an old phone number. It's still mine, and someone used my phone number to open an account. And so the
Hmm.
alert tells me, hey, someone's trying to
Yep.
open an account at this big box store. And it's like, not me. Like, okay, click, stopped.
Yes, that's very important. That's very good that you're doing that, Michelle, because in the world we live in today, I think we need to take control of that. Um, the way you're doing it is fantastic. And I encourage all of your audience to do the same. I mean, it's so simple to set up an alert nowadays, just with the basics things that you care the most. And
Well,
you'll
then
be
it just
amazed.
dawned on me as I'm talking to you,
Mm-hmm.
we should put our passports in there too.
It's a double. You have to be careful with the alerts because sometimes people can get into
Oh,
the yes, and your information. So it's not advised to put your social security number or your driver license or your passport information because
that's the big thing.
um
Don't do that. Because if it gets
yeah,
hacked,
don't do that.
if it gets
Yeah,
hacked,
those
then it's gone.
yeah, yeah, it could
Oh,
be worse. But definitely your name, your phone number, like
yeah.
all the
I
the
have all the
public
small basic
information
things.
about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the basic public information about you. It's good to have it. And to check that periodically. And one thing when I have my my identity stolen by a Chinese smuggler, and I googled my name and I saw everything was in Chinese, and I owned. Or not I owned, but my name was used to register companies in China. And I had import and export businesses under my name in multiple, maybe um, you know, I took the habit of Googling myself all the time because you never know until you do it, what kind of information comes up about you. And just do it as a routine, put it in your calendar, time to Google myself and see what's about you online. Um, because definitely, it, you know, those simple steps we can do are going to make a huge difference in whether your identity gets stolen or not.
So Sandra, you're a speaker too, right? You come out and you'll speak to groups. So
Yes,
if my listeners has a company or an organization that they would like you to come and talk about cybersecurity and how to protect yourself, you can go far more in depth with them live, right?
absolutely, Michelle. Yes, that's part of creating these series and creating these. It's going to be a combination of writing and speaking, and my goal is to to really reach out a big audience and to ensure that, the more people that knows about this and how to protect themselves, the more people are going to prevent to be a victim of identity theft. Now, let me ask you a question, Michelle. Do you know how often there is a new victim of identity theft? Now that we're talking about
How
this,
often what?
how often a new victim of identity theft happens?
Probably one every second.
Every 2 seconds, very close. Every 2 seconds, there is a new victim. So
It happens.
imagine that.
Well, and I remember when I saw you on stage in LA that you said one of the things that you were suggesting us immediately to enact is when we check into a hotel and we hand them our credit card or our debit card or whatever,
Yep.
don't give them the card and your ID at the same time. Because she said, she said, Sandra said they can take a picture like that and have everything all at once. And then the other thing you said was when you hand the card over to like hold your hand over the number as you hand it or something like that. I can't remember. It was something to do with the card.
Yes.
So
So
that
you
it
hold
doesn't get click, click, click.
you hold your ID. So if you have to give your credit card and your ID to someone, you hold into your ID and let them validate your information. People don't have to touch your ID. They don't have to hold it. If they just want to validate that your name is the same name on the card, they can do that while I'm holding it. And I always ask if they give me a hard time, like I want, like it's a funny dance for a second. Like they try to keep it, and I tie my grip, and they try, and they just look at the name, and they move on. If someone asks how I need to have it, I'll ask why, and they'll tell me, well, because I need so and so, and I might say, yeah, of course, or no. And I'm more diligent. I'm looking, and those are basic things that we can do that definitely will make a difference. So thank you for remembering that. I'm so proud of you.
Because I do it. I go to the extra extreme with that. When I hand my credit card, I hold it where I cover the numbers.
Oh yeah.
And then I hand it to them, to the other side of the desk. And then I show them my ID card. But I cover it just in case anyone or the camera up there doesn't take it.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely same way when you enter your PIN number. If you are in an ATM and you want to put your hand, or you are in a PIN pad, always protect that, because there are cameras, there are scammers that can really watch out for that. And yes.
Well, I'm thinking all the teeny tiny cameras they have now. I mean, they have small cameras. I mean, I'm talking the head, smaller than the head of my pen cameras.
Well, there are cameras the size of a fly.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking, I mean, if you're in a very busy place, and drones, for goodness sakes, I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
Cameras can see far, so you do want to cover that pin pad, and I always just do that.
Yes. Yeah, great, awesome, that's excellent, Michelle.
I learned from you.
Well, I'm so happy, and I'm very, 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 very proud of you, because you're inspiring your audience. Your MentalShift audience is going to be, armed with all of these tips, and they are not necessarily technical tips. Like, sometimes people feel intimidated, but they hear cybersecurity, they're like, oh, I don't like, oh, and it's not only technical. It's not only bits and bytes. I mean, there are many things that we can do in our daily lives to prevent that. We become a victim of cybercrime and identity theft. And you are a great example of that, Michelle. So awesome. I'm super proud.
Is there any last bit of wisdom you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, so one last advice that I will have for your audience is, when you go to a public place, and you see a smart charger, you know those where you can plug your phone? Just do me a favor, just keep walking. Don't stop. Don't put your phone in a public device, because public devices can be accessed by anyone. So they could easily be infected and steal your information. So that, sometimes you're like, I don't know how they got my information, but when probably think about where did I charge my phone, or which Wi-Fi did I connect it, so you can probably find out, you know, some places that probably had infected devices, and that's how you got infected.
I have to say,
So
be
just,
careful at airports and malls because they have the plugins there.
yeah, so just use your outlets, just electric, charger. You could use those. If you must use a charger, a smart charger, and there's no other hope, there's nothing you can, your phone is done and you really need to charge it. My advice is power it off and then do it power off. Don't do your phone and charge it and be on the phone. This is what, that's not that's gonna be probably an issue in the future. But if you power it off and
Actually,
charge it, then just move on.
a lot of phones now, if it's off and you plug it in, it comes back on.
There's a setting that you can change for the phone not to do that. Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, people. If you're going to charge, if you have to, last resort, turn it off. All righty. Well, thank you, Sandra. Now, for those of you who would love to have Sandra come out and speak to you in your group, you can find her on her website, right? Or how else can they reach you?
They can reach me at sandraestok.com.
Okay.
It's my website. So if they need to, if they want me to speak or contact me, definitely sandraestok.com, or they can send me an email at making cybersecurity simple at waytoprotect.com, or happilyevercyber@waytoprotect.com. Either one.
Easy. Happily ever
yes.
cyber.
Yes, happyevercyber.com, and you'll get my contact information also there.
Okay, and then on this podcast, I will also have your sandraestok.com and the happilyevercyber.com, so they can reach both of those. And I can't think of anything else except you are out to change the way we perceive the cyber world, and we will live happily ever cyber.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, we will.
Thanks for joining
Michelle.
us. And everybody, pay attention to what Sandra said. And it's so simple to protect yourself, but you have to be very intentional about how to protect yourself. And for goodness sake, stop playing those Facebook games. You're just giving them information. So have a wonderful, wonderful week and day or month or whatever you are when you're coming on to watch this. And I hope you reach out to Sandra and, ask her some questions, and she can come out and speak to your groups or your organizations, and she's awesome. She's quite the entertaining yet educational speaker I've ever met. So have a wonderful week, everyone, and thank you so much, Sandra.
Thank you, Michelle.